today we're gonna talk about something that me is a topic I think is highly debated within the church or highly talked about. So I guess I'll just give my opinion on it. And what is alcohol? Is it good? Is it bad? But before we get into it, comment down below how God has blessed you. Um yeah, I will I'm gonna tie into that weed and marijuana use also. Um so this is what I'm gonna say. I believe all addictions are wrong. I believe no matter what, if it's an addiction, it's not something you should be doing. Uh, and uh, how do you know if it's addiction? Well, it's pretty simple. Can you live without it? Can you drop it anytime? You know, just the basic stuff. Uh, do you crave it? You know, that's an addiction. Um, and if you ever feel like you put it before the Lord, yeah, that's clearly an idol and an addiction, you know. So yeah. With that being said, there are some scriptures like in Psalm. It might not be Psalms. Um, it might be Psalms. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up. Um, actually, I should do that now. Okay, Proverbs. It was. I mean, there's Proverbs that's 20 through 21. Be not among drunkards or among gluttonous eaters of meat, for the drunkard and glutton will be come to poverty and slumber, clothe them with rags. There's also Ephesians. Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. In Galatians, the acts of the sinful nature are obvious: drunkenness, orgies, you know, stuff like that. And you know, there is one thing that it always says. It says drunkenness. And yeah, it's like I think as long as you're sober minded, um, I don't think it's a sin at all. But you know, how do you know if you're sober minded or not? Me personally, I will say though, in my opinion, I feel like if you drink to the point where you're above that AP, the blood alcohol content level, if you're above that, you shouldn't be, uh, you shouldn't ever drink over that. I think that's when, it's considered drunkenness because I feel like if you can't function in everyday society, then you're drunk. Essentially, is what I'm trying to say. But I don't know. And another thing, there's one thing that um I would say I feel like if you ever feel like it's a sin, if you ever feel like it's wrong, then you definitely shouldn't do it. That's also biblical. Um yeah. Now the deeper stuff, weed, marijuana use, yeah, it's like that's the same thing. It's like how can you measure whether or not you're sober minded with that type of stuff? You know? I will say I do think there's more negative effects on your physical body with alcohol than weed, like edibles and whatnot. But it's not about that. It's about the mind and what you're doing to your mind. Um, I think a lot of the times we tend to, get drunk or get high and think nothing of it, but we never really look at what the Bible says. And I will say the Bible always makes it clear not to get drunk. Essentially, it always makes it clear that you should stay of sober mind, and that the second you're drunk that's when it's a sin. So, um, this is a highly debated topic in the church, so it's not like I'm gonna be able to give everybody like the facts, because there's some people that's like, oh no, even a drop of wine is wrong, even a drop of alcohol is wrong. And there's some people who's like, oh, you could have a cup or two to go to before you go to sleep and whatnot. Me personally, I don't really like alcohol in general. My dad was an alcoholic before he left. Alcoholism runs in my family, so I just kind of I really try to stay away from it. So yeah, I don't know. Like just the honest opinion is I really don't know. I think that no matter what, if you reach a point where you're drunk, that's when it's a sin. Um, if you reach a point where you're not sober minded, that's when it's a sin. Same with marijuana, I guess. If you reach a point where you're not sober minded, that's when it's a sin. If you reach a point where you can't function correctly, that's when it's a sin. You all tend to I feel like you should. And one thing for sure, certain, if you don't know your boundaries, then you definitely shouldn't be doing any of this alone. That's a fact. Um, yeah. All that to say is, I would say this: walk in wisdom, walk with, you know your body, you know yourself, you know when you're not sober minded, and you know when you're not functioning correctly. So, um, yeah. Essentially, all this to say is, you can drink, but don't get drunk. I'm sorry if this doesn't help y'all guys. Like I said, this is a highly debated topic, so there's no way I'm gonna be able to solve all this for y'all in one video. Yeah, thank you so much. If you stayed to the end, thank you. Um, I'm sorry if it was just a bunch of rambling. I really am. Um, I pray that this helped somebody. If it did, drop a like. If you're not subscribed, can you subscribe? And yeah, have a good rest of your day.